Well, Your Honor, this is about a woman who was some kind of witch. Witches make brews. That's illegal.
Living with Alan turned out to be an insane nightmare. He sat on the couch surrounded by his trash, his toenail clippings, and all of us locked ourselves in our rooms and we peed in buckets in order to avoid going past him.
This is such nonsense.
Plaintiff Alan Brody says he should have seen trouble brewing when he learned his former roommate is a witch. He's suing for $1,500 for rent, utilities, and missing property. Defendant Brenda Fazio denies the plaintiff's allegations and is countersuing for $5,000 for rent, pest control fees, and the return of her security
The
deposit.
testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. The Honorable Judge Jerry Springer now presiding. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. How are you, Najee?
I'm doing well, Judge. Thank
Good.
you. This is case number 131 on the docket, Brody versus Fazio.
Welcome to both of you. Let's see what we have here. We have the plaintiff, Alan Brody, and you are suing your former roommate, Brenda Fazio, for $1,500 for what you say is unpaid rent, personal property, and utility bills. And you, Brenda, are countersuing him for $5,000 for half of 6 months' rent, security deposit, and pest control fees.
She was in a desperate situation. She needed a place to stay. And I took her into my oversight. I had a big apartment.
Yes.
I needed a roommate. Even though she was some kind of witch or a Wiccan,
You're saying she's
apparently.
a witch?
However,
Wiccan?
so I brought her into the apartment, took her on a month-to-month basis at $1,200 a month. At the end, was to cheat me out of $1,000 worth of rent, utilities, and an insane letter that she wrote to my daughter.
Well, what was she paying rent for?
She was paying $1,200 for two rooms.
2 rooms.
The understanding was the second room would be for her son. She stayed in one room with her son. It's hard for you to pay the rent. How about we rent that other room out, and that would lower your rent? So we rented that room out. We split the savings, and I dropped her rent from $1,200 a month to $800. And when COVID came along, the second roommate, who we never really saw, couldn't pay rent, which meant that we were both on the hook. And the landlord only agreed to defer the rent for $1,000 until COVID was over. But when we discovered that the third roommate was now involved in driving COVID patients around, I realized I couldn't be around. That was much too dangerous. I took off to go in the country to be out of it, thinking that this would last maybe a week or 2 weeks. When I realized that this was going to stay on for a long time, I called Brenda and said, hey, Brenda, would you like to take over the apartment, move into my room? And she jumped at the idea.
Living with Alan as a roommate turned out to be an insane and traumatic nightmare. We signed a lease agreement that I would take 2 bedrooms, one for myself, one for my son. He brought in so much stuff that I never had access to the bedroom for my son. Every single surface of every inch of the common area had his belongings everywhere. Well,
Was that the third roommate? Why would you stay?
I had to have a place to stay
Well, I
until I
understand
saved
that.
up
There
money.
was-
As a single mom, I was saving money to move. We
Okay.
all felt so uncomfortable that all of us locked ourselves in our rooms and we literally peed in buckets in order to avoid going through the common area.
Mice were all in her part of the apartment. The reason why I brought up the fact that she's a Wiccan or whatever she is because witches make brews. And to make brews, you need ingredients. And she had ingredients.
All those
That's
boxes.
the stuff that overflowed from her bedroom into the dining room.
That's actually our first roommate's
Yeah.
stuff. How am
terms
I
of-
supposed to move into your room if your room is full of your crap?
You're countersuing for $5,000 for half of 6 months' worth of rent because you never had access to the second bedroom. That's $3,700.
What I'm claiming are the carpets that she kept in her room to muffle the sound, and she needed my carpets, plus my air conditioning unit, which was stuck in the wall. I didn't take that out. That's what I'm claiming. And the 3 carpets.
You gave me permission to throw away, so I did.
I don't want to throw away any of your possessions.
Right.
You say to her, you can. In terms of your possessions,
What-
I'm dropping that 500 I'm dropping.
She responded with that crazy letter, which she actually sent, one she sent to me and one she sent to my daughter, accusing me of cyber crimes.
He sent me 7 requests in 2 hours, requesting $1,400.
Because-
What is the letter that you wrote to his daughter?
He has committed some pretty big felony crimes, which FBI is involved because he hacked a bank account. You're talking to a witch here.
She was paying rent that she had every reason to believe included 2 rooms, and she only had use of 1 room. Your stuff was there, so
Yeah,
she is entitled to paying rent for just 1/2 for those 6 months. For 1 room, you simply get to keep her security deposit, which is what, $1,250. For the plaintiff, the case is dismissed. For the defendant in the countersuit, I fine for $3,700.
Thank you, Your Honor, so much.